Hi everyone, welcome back to Make It with Mod Podge. My name is Cathie and today I've got a really fun video to share with you. I'm going to show you how you can do napkin decoupage on a paper mache pumpkin. These pumpkins and lots of different shapes are available at any craft store. I've got some gorgeous fall floral napkins and I'm going to base coat my pumpkin with some creamy paint. For this project, there's different types of Mod Podges that you can use depending upon the finish that you want. If you want something that's high shine, you're going to use your gloss formula. If you want something that is the lowest sheen, you're going to use your matte formula. And if you want something in between, you're going to use Satin. I'm going to show you all the basic steps, so if you've never done decoupage before, this is a perfect video to get you started. All right, let's do it. First, let's take a look at the formulas. We've got gloss, satin, and matte. Gloss is going to give you the shiniest finish. And take a look at this sample board. Satin is going to be in between gloss and matte. And this is the satin sample board. It's got a little bit more sheen to it. And matte is going to be the flattest finish of the three formulas. Let's take a look at the gloss and matte together. I think in the sunlight you can see the difference there. I'm getting started with the paper mache pumpkin. You're going to start by painting it a light color with either chalk paint, folk art multi-surface paint, or apple barrel paint. If you're using one of those plastic fake pumpkins, you're going to want to use chalk paint because it sticks the best. But for paper mache, you could use any of those three choices. With the folk art, I'm using one thick coat. Next, let's prep our napkin. I'm just using a little piece of tape there to separate the napkin plies. Now this napkin has 3 plies, 1 printed and 2 plain white. We're going to be getting rid of both of those plain white pieces. That's super important. You only want to be decoupaging with that top printed ply. And for this technique that I'm going to show you, we're not cutting the flowers out. I'm going to show you how you can do really great decoupage using the whole piece of napkin. So go ahead and get that separated. And for today's project, I decided to use the satin formula. And I'm also going to have a spray bottle of water on hand. So the first thing is I'm going to do my pumpkin in sections. So I'm going to Mod Podge, adding the Mod Podge to one of the sections of the pumpkin. And I'm trying not to go over into the other section too much. I'm just applying a nice thin coat there. Then I'm going to spritz my napkin with water, just a light damp mist, and then I'm going to place it onto the pumpkin in that section. I'm using my hands and fingers to get it into position, and I'm pressing to smooth any wrinkles. Even when the napkin's damp, you have a little bit of wiggle room and time to put it into position. Just be gentle because it is a napkin, it's thin, and of course it's a little bit damp. Now the dampness helps with wrinkles. It's pretty hard not to get any wrinkles when you're going around a curved surface. Just use your fingers and do your best to smooth them out. Now before I go on to the next step, I do let this dry. So I'm going to let it dry and then I'm going to take a little bit of water. You've got 2 techniques here you can try. One is painting a little water along that edge, and then I'm going to tear off the extra napkin there. Or if you didn't have that on hand, you could go ahead and use scissors to cut that off. Next, I'm going to add Mod Podge to the next section. I did let this dry a little bit before I moved on. And now I'm going to spritz my napkin again. And I'll repeat this process going all the way around the pumpkin and giving a little bit of dry time, about 15 minutes for each section. This will give you a nice, beautiful finish with the least amount of wrinkles and the least amount of pattern overlay. Go ahead and trim up more there. And then you can also add a little bit more Mod Podge to those seamed areas if you need to. That piece is being a little bit stubborn. All right, let's give that a trim. And you can really see the pumpkin starting to take shape. There, I'm just pressing that down. Now, once it's all dry, I'm gonna top coat the entire thing with the Mod Podge Satin, and that will seal the napkin completely down and create a really beautiful finish. I'm making sure that I really get that in the seams. You can see I did not do the stem because we're going to be gluing some rope there. I'm just doing the whole outside edge. And once I have it really coated, I like to just take my brush and move it all in one direction. Okay, let that dry for a little bit, and now we're going to glue a bottom on this just to finish it off. So I just add a little bit more Mod Podge, and I've got a small piece of napkin here, and I'm not really worrying about that overlap because it is the bottom piece. And next we're gonna go ahead and add some of our rope. So for this, I'm just going to tape off the rope, and then I'm going to cut it. I'm using clear tape so it will disappear. And I'm going to hot glue that right to the top there. I'm using my finger protector. And then let's add hot glue going down that seam, and we'll just be adding that rope. And we'll work all the way around the pumpkin doing this. And I am gluing it to the bottom of the pumpkin. Add a little bit more tape there, cut that off. The tape is just gonna help it not to unravel. So it's gonna get covered, you're not gonna see it, but clear tape works best here. So let's go ahead and continue to glue all the way around. And then we're going to add a bottom piece to our pumpkin, just to finish it off. This is a little foam circle. You could use a piece of felt. That'll make it nice and finished. And now to the top there, I'm just gonna loop some rope around in sort of an organic circle shape, just to make it look sort of like the bottom of a pumpkin stem. And I'm just gonna hot glue that around, looping it to the inside, and then I'll work all the way up the stem, creating a little bit of a larger stem using this rope. To finish it off, I'm just tucking that to the inside, and I'm adding a felt fall leaf, just hot gluing that on. I absolutely love how this turned out. I hope these beginner steps were helpful for you. This is such a gorgeous way to decorate for fall, just using paper napkins and Mod Podge. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've learned a little bit more about Napkin Decoupage. I'll be back here next week with another fun project video to share with you. And until then, have a super crafty week. Bye.